The doctor ran into the bathroom and locked the door. His hands were trembling so badly that he almost dropped himself onto the cold, tiled floor. His lungs burned as if he had been underwater for too long. His throat felt raw, bruised. Slowly, he lifted his head and looked into the mirror. 3 deep claw marks were bleeding across his chest. They were fresh. They were painful. And they were impossible. There was no one else inside the house. What happened inside the Sallie house that night was never officially explained. The house stood quietly on North 2nd Street in Atchison, Kansas, a small Midwestern town where nothing unusual ever seemed to happen. It was a kind of place where neighbors knew each other, where police reports were rare, and where rumors traveled faster than facts. The house itself looked harmless. 2 stories tall, white wooden siding, a narrow porch facing the street. But locals avoided it. Some crossed the road rather than walk past it. Others refused to even say its name out loud. They simply called it the Sallie House. No one could agree on the origin of the legend. According to local lore, a young girl named Sallie was brought to the house in the early 1900s after complaining of severe abdominal pain. A doctor allegedly performed surgery without anesthesia. The girl died screaming. But here's the problem. There are no official records confirming her death. No hospital files. No burial documents. No newspaper articles. Just stories passed down through generations. In 1992, Tony Pickman, a licensed medical doctor, and his wife Deborah rented the house. The rent was unusually low, but Tony didn't question it. He wasn't superstitious. He didn't believe in ghosts. To him, fear was psychological. At first, the house felt normal. The first few nights were quiet. No strange sounds. No shadows. No cold spots. Tony slept well, but Deborah didn't. From the very beginning, she felt uncomfortable upstairs, especially in the nursery. She described a constant sensation of being watched, as if someone small was standing just behind her. Tony dismissed it as imagination. Old houses had odd energy, he said. But then small things started happening. Keys vanished and reappeared on different floors. Objects were moved overnight. Faint footsteps echoed through empty hallways. And then there was the crying. Late at night, Deborah heard the sound of a child sobbing softly inside the walls. Tony searched for logical explanations. Pipes, rodents, air pressure. None of them fit. The first physical sign appeared on the walls. Thin scratches, fresh, shallow. They weren't random. They appeared in clusters, almost as if something had dragged its fingers slowly across the wood. Every morning, there were more. Deborah believed the spirit of a child was trying to get attention. Tony still didn't believe that. But the house was affecting him. He became irritable, aggressive, short-tempered. Deborah later said it felt like the house brought out something dark inside him. Then Tony noticed scratches on his own body. At first, they were light, barely visible. 3 thin lines on his arm. He assumed he'd done it himself while sleeping, but then they appeared while he was awake. On his chest, on his back, sometimes after feeling sudden anger or dread. Tony documented everything. As a doctor, he knew stress couldn't create physical wounds like these. The activity escalated. Strange symbols appeared carved into the walls. They didn't resemble childish scratches. They looked deliberate, intentional, almost ancient. Deborah began hearing a low male voice at night, nothing like a child. It growled from dark corners of the house. At this point, Tony could no longer deny something was wrong. Then came the night at 3:07 a.m. Tony woke up unable to move. Something heavy pressed down on his chest. His arms were pinned. His throat tightened as if invisible hands were squeezing it shut. He tried to scream. Nothing came out. The pressure increased. his vision blurred. Then, just as suddenly, it stopped. Tony gasped and ran to the bathroom, locking the door behind him. That's when he saw the claw marks. Deep, bleeding, painful. Medical examinations later confirmed the injuries were real. No medical condition could explain them. There was no attacker. From that night forward, the entity became more aggressive. Paranormal investigators were brought in. They documented temperature drops, electromagnetic spikes, and unexplained voices. One recording clearly captured a whisper, "Get out." Another voice followed, deep, angry, "He's mine." During one investigation, Tony was scratched again, this time in front of witnesses. No one saw what did it. The final incident occurred after Tony attempted a cleansing ritual. That night, the house fell silent. No creaks, no wind, no insects. Then the bedroom door slammed shut. Witnesses heard Tony choking. His body lifted off the bed. Invisible hands wrapped around his throat. When it ended, Tony collapsed unconscious. Deep wounds covered his chest. Once again, no attacker was found. Tony and Deborah fled the house soon after. But Tony later claimed the entity followed him, causing nightmares, unexplained illnesses, and marks long after he left the Sallie house. Eventually, the activity faded, but it never truly stopped. The house still stands today. People still visit, and some leave with scratches they can't explain. If a trained medical doctor, someone who didn't believe in the paranormal, was physically attacked by something invisible, what does that say about the things we can't see? Do you believe what happened inside the Sallie house was truly paranormal? Or is there another explanation still waiting to be uncovered?